Good evening, children. Welcome to AIMS India live session. You are watching Biology. What is science? The second part. In the last video, we discussed about the different strategies involved in developing the concepts in the science and the definition of science. Let us recall the definition of science. The word science comes from a Latin word. The word science comes from a Latin word, scientia. The meaning is knowledge. So it's like a system. Let us go further. Science refers to a system of acquiring knowledge. This system uses observation and experimentation to describe and explain natural phenomena. The term science also refers to the organized body of knowledge people have gained using that system. The word science often describes any systematic field of study or the knowledge gained from it. Okay? So it involves so many experimentations, observations, hypotheses. Okay? So all those, whatever it may be, finally knowledge is gained through science. Okay? Let us proceed to today's topic. Why do science? There are two perspectives are there. One is the individual perspective and the social perspective. The individual perspective. In most cases, they are collecting information to test new ideas or to disprove old ideas. Individual perspective means that scientist his own view. In most of the cases, they are collecting information to test new ideas or to disprove old ones. Scientists become famous for discovering new things that change how we think about nature. Whether the discovery is a new species of dinosaur or a new way in which atoms bond. Okay, if it is biological aspect, dinosaur, new species, discovery. If it is chemistry aspect, atoms, bonds. Like that, every subject has its own individual perspective. It depends on the interest of that scientist, the area in which he is having grip. The scientists find their greatest joy in a previously unknown fact, means already discovered, a discovery that explains some problems previously not explained or that overturns some previously accepted idea. Okay? The scientists find their greatest joy in a previously unknown fact, a discovery that explains some problems previously not explained or that overturns some previously accepted ideas. Okay? Whatever the ideas, the scientists will share their ideas. That is called communicating skill. So they will, in the same field, several scientists work. They share their ideas. For example, discovery of the structure of DNA. Watson and Crick both work together. Okay? In the same manner, for example, cell theory was proposed by Sleden and Schwann. One of the scientists related to plant science and one of the scientists related to animal science. They postulated, they put together a cell theory which states that all living organisms are made up of cells. Okay? So like that, every scientist has his individual perspective. Next, the societal perspective. The societal perspective means what has motivated these scientists to devote their lives to develop this new knowledge. One realm of answer lies in the desire to improve people's life. Okay. The meaning is here, why that much risk taken by these scientists? Okay. Number one, that is to improve people's life. Okay. They possess a lot of humanity, and for the welfare of the people, they will sacrifice their comforts. Okay. For example, geneticists trying to understand how certain conditions are passed from generation to generation, means in the field of genetics. The scientist who work in the field of genetics, he is called as geneticist. Biologists raising the pathways by which diseases are transmitted or clearly seeking information improve the lives of ordinary people. Okay, the biologists raising the pathways by which diseases are transmitted or clearly seeking information improve the lives of ordinary people. It's every scientist work for the society, work for the welfare of fellow people to improve the lives of the people. Earth scientists developing better models for prediction of weather or for the prediction of earthquakes, landslides, and volcanic eruptions. Okay. So any scientist, a chemist related to the chemistry, and a physicist related to physics concepts. So whatever the field they select, they work on it and they develop for the improvement of the people's life. All these comforts which we are enjoying now because of the efforts of so many great scientists. Another realm of answer lies in a society's desires for economic development. Definitely, the economic development of society or a country depends upon the number of scientists present in that country particularly. A geologist devote their work to finding more efficient or more effective ways to discover or rediscover natural resources like petroleum and ores. Okay, here the geologist work is to find out the better ways, the better fuels. Okay, he rediscover or discover the natural resources like petroleum and ores. In that way, the wealth of the country depends upon the wealth of these natural resources. Okay. Next, botanists. Botanist means the person who study about the plants. So he is seeking strains or species of fruiting plants for crops and ultimately working to increase the agricultural output that nutritionally and literally enriches nations. Best example, M.S. Swaminathan, agriculturist, called as famously father of green revolution. So he introduced hybrid varieties. So by working on those, so that scientist M.S. Swaminathan, our country come out of that famine conditions, lack of food because of the work of the Swaminathan. So we are out of danger during that period. Okay. So scientists always think about the welfare of the society and the enrichment of the country, the wealth of the country depends upon the scientists' work, we can say. That's why great importance or lot of priority is given to the scientists. chemists developing new chemical substances with potential technological applications. Okay. The chemists in their field, they develop new chemical substances. A physicist developing new phenomena like superconductivity or likewise developing the knowledge that may spur economic development. So the work of the scientist never go waste. It bring name and fame to the country. Not only that, several due to that name and fame, so many economic developments took place. Okay, so this is very important area where finally we can say the societies support science. Why? Because of simple curiosity and because of the satisfaction and because of the enlightenment that come from knowledge of the world around us. Enlightenment, the inspiration given by those scientists will help the juniors to work under their supervision and to improve the quality and quantity of different products which are useful in our day-to-day life. Let us proceed further. Science and change. Science and change. If scientists are constantly trying to make new discoveries or to develop new concepts and theories, then the body of knowledge produced by science should undergo constant change. What does it mean? Okay. It means that every day some new inventions and new discoveries are taking place. The laws or the principles or the hypothesis introduced by some scientist in BC and AD, the modern scientists are replacing or rectifying the formulae, rectifying the concepts developed by the previous scientists. Not only that, because here the transformation of knowledge is taking place. Okay, the knowledge possessed by the previous scientist centuries ago was different from the modern scientist because the technology improved. Using the technology and using that modern equipment, the more study is possible. So new concepts are developed. So that's why the science should undergo constant change. It is achieved by constantly questioning whether our current ideas are correct or not. So every time the questions will arise. So searching for answer to those questions lead to new inventions and discoveries. In the words of a great scientist, Karl Popper, science is a history of corrected mistakes. The quotation given by Karl Popper. Science is a history of corrected mistakes. And even Albert Einstein, the great scientist who introduced the formula E is equal to mc square, energy equivalence. Albert Einstein introduced the formula E is equal to mc square. He remarked of himself that fellow Einstein every year retracts what he wrote the year before. So what does it mean? Means he studied himself. What Albert Einstein remarked of himself? That fellows Einstein every year retracts what he wrote the year before. Okay? The scientists observe the nature and its laws. They discover the secrets of nature. Isn't it? Whatever knowledge is gained by means of searching, by using the senses. The difference between a scientist and a normal human being is a scientist utilizes his senses properly. The sense organs are called the gateways of knowledge. So, if any person utilizes his sense organs properly, can achieve anything and everything in the world. Okay? So, based on these discoveries and inventions, different innovations takes place. Scientists follow a specific way for their innovations. The way that they follow is called scientific method. This is very, very important. Scientists follow a specific way for their innovations. The way that they follow is called scientific method. What is scientific method? Simply, the method followed by scientists is called scientific method. So many scientists have remarked that they would like to return to life in a few centuries to see what new knowledge and new ideas have been developed by them. Many scientists. And to see which of their own centuries' ideas have been discarded. Okay? Scientists always very keen in observation. So, if any criticism arises against the scientists, they will take positively, and once again they work on it and they accept their mistakes, they rectify and they reintroduce their formulae. Okay? So, that is the scientific attitude. Scientific attitude you have to develop. Okay? What is scientific method? Let us see in brief. Science and the scientific method. Science is an objective, logical, and repeatable attempt to understand the principles and forces operating in the natural universe. Okay? So these are all objective, logical, repeatable, okay, principles and forces operating in the natural universe. Good science is not dogmatic but should be viewed as an ongoing process. It involves testing and evaluation, continuous testing and evaluation. The scientific method is to be used as a guide that can be modified. In some sciences, such as taxonomy and certain types of geology, laboratory experiments are not necessarily performed. Okay? In certain sciences, science is a vast subject, as we discussed. It consists of several branches. One of the branch, taxonomy, if you take taxonomy and geology. So laboratory experiments are not necessarily performed. It involves different strategies. Every subject involves its own strategy. So instead of laboratory experiments, after formulating a hypothesis, additional observations made from different localities. Okay? Trial and error methods. So by means of observation, the observations made in one area, one locality, same observations, they will apply it to another area, like that. Okay, scientific method. These are some of the principles involved in the scientific method. The steps in the scientific method, let us discuss, which include observation, hypothesis, experimentation, conclusion. There are 4 main steps involved in the scientific method. What are they? Observation, hypothesis, experimentation, and conclusion. So first, observation. Observation is nothing but defining the problem you wish to explain. First, you have to define the problem. So that problem, by means of questioning, research question first. What you should possess a clear-cut idea what you want to discover, what you want to invent, how. Okay, the question, first question, you have to define the problem. Next, hypothesis. What is hypothesis? Hypothesis is the second step. One or more explanations for the observation is called a hypothesis. One or more observation or explanations for observation is called a hypothesis. Next, experimentation. Experiment. Controlled attempts to test one or more hypotheses. Controlled attempts to test one or more hypothesis is called experimentation. So this experimentation involves several equipment, aim of the experiment, everything should be clear. Aim, requirements, chemicals, then procedure, then finally the inference, results. Okay. Next, conclusion. Conclusion means after this step, the hypothesis is either modified or rejected. The result will draw conclusion. Okay. If the experiment is getting the expected results, then the hypothesis is correct. It gives strength to the hypothesis. So the hypothesis is supported if the result is positive. Hypothesis is not supported if the results are negative. So reports of the result will finally depends on the experimentation. Okay. So whenever a project work is given by your teacher, so first you have to observe and ask a question. Children, you have to ask a question. Use your sense. Okay, use your sense or vision. Visualize and make observations. Then you have to record one question that you would like to answer. You have to record a question that you would like to answer. Then write down what you already know about that. Okay, you have to write down what you know already about the topic of your question. Then decide what other information you need. What are the other informations? Because these are all come under the second step, hypothesis. Right? First you have to define a question. Then what do you know about that? You have to write. Then decide the other information you need. Then do research to find more information. Okay. So research to find the more information about that topic, that particular topic. For that purpose, you need to meet different people. You need to take guidelines from the teacher. Okay. So that's why a project work in the school is given to a group. Okay, your friends. So each one is allotted some work. Okay. So that is a scientific method involves the 4 main steps. What are they? Observation. In the observation only, research question. Then the hypothesis. The hypothesis involves several observations and explanations. Then experimentation. So based on the observation, you have to conduct the experiment. Then conclusion. Based on the experiment result, you have to come to conclusion. Okay, children? Any doubt? Well, let us proceed. How to form the hypothesis? Here, you have to write the possible answers or Writing the possible answers to the question is called hypothesis. A hypothesis is a possible answer that you can test, or that you can experiment. Okay, so you have to write your hypothesis in a complete sentences in a simple language, then plan the experiment. So during experiment, you have to search the variables. Variables means the variables are the factors that can affect the outcome of the investigation. We can call it as investigation. See the terminology: observation, investigation, experimentation. Okay, you have to start a investigation, then write down the steps you will follow in doing the test. Okay, write down the steps, then list the equipment. What are the equipments required? Then decide how you will gather or record your data. Recording data is also very, very important. Then you can conduct the experiment. Follow the steps you have written, then observe the measures carefully, and record everything that happens. Okay, organize your data so that you can study it carefully. So you can do experiment on any natural phenomenon. Okay, if you take a soil, so take the soil sample. What are the questions? And you can experiment. What are the different composition of the soil? Simple experiments under the guidelines of your teacher you can do. So be enthusiastic, and to develop the scientific attitude, you have to follow the scientific method, which involves these steps. Next, a brief about again scientific method. Scientific method as an ongoing process it is. First, make observations. What do I see in nature? This can be from one's own experiences, thoughts, or by reading. Okay, make observations. First step. Next, think of interesting questions. Why does that pattern occur? So question why. The next, formulate hypothesis. What are the general causes of phenomenon I am wondering about? How? Okay, you have to hypothesize. The next, develop testable predictions. So in order to testable predictions, if your hypothesis, you have to question once again, if my hypothesis is correct, then I expect. You can write your expectations 1, 2, 3 or A, B, C. The next, gather data to test predictions. Once again, you have to gather the relevant data. Can come from the literature, new observations, or formal experiments. Thorough testing requires a replication to verify results. Again and again you have to do. You have to verify. Then you will gather the data to test the predictions. Okay, those predictions may involve refine, alter, expand, or reject hypothesis. See how clearly. Okay, first you have to refine. You have to eliminate the predictions which are unexpected. Then alter, change, expand, or elaborate, and reject, or if necessary, you can reject the hypothesis. Okay. So finally, develop general theories. General theories must be consistent, means must be accepted by everybody. Consistent with most or all available data and with other current theories. Once again, the general theories again makes observation. It is a cycle. Scientific method is an ongoing process. Ongoing process. Okay. Right, children? So, what we have studied today, let us test ourselves. Let us proceed to quiz number 2. A series of steps followed to solve problems. Those who are in live chat, please give answer. Please respond, children. A series of steps followed to solve problems. Experimental guidelines, the scientific method, investigations, standard procedures. Come on, children. Answer the question. Series of steps followed to solve problems. What is that method? The scientific method. Here the answer is B. B is the correct answer. Next. The best graph to use if I want to compare the price of 6 different cars would be data table, pie graph, okay, bar graph, line graph. The best graph to use if I want to compare the price of 6 different cars would be okay. These are all the questions related to the skills which we are going to discuss more in the next class. Okay, here first data table. Answer is A. A conclusion reached on the basis of evidence and reasoning is a conclusion. Finally, after the experiment, what do you call it? A conclusion reached on the basis of evidence and reasoning. Okay, it is called inference. Okay, some of you answered D, inference. Good. Keep answering whether it is right or wrong. First, initiation, attempting is very important, and you have to rectify that answer if it is wrong. A scientific procedure undertaken to make a discovery, test a hypothesis, or demonstrate a known fact is a or is an law, experiment, hypothesis, theory. So here scientific procedure is given. Okay, so scientific procedure involves experimentation. So the answer is B. Next, the fifth question. Which of the following is important when creating a graph in science? Titles, neatness, labels, all of the above. Okay, in order to create a graph in mathematics, you are very much familiar. So definitely we need title, you have to maintain neatness, and we need labels. So the answer is all the above. All of the above. Next, in which step of the scientific method do we want to use graphs? Do we want to use the graphs? Asking questions, communicate results, analyze data. So this, you know very well, in your school results also, you will get some graphs. Okay, they will compare FA1, FA2, FA3, then SA1, SA2, like that. So when it is done, in which step of the scientific method? Question number 6. Yes, It is during analyzing data. In order to analyze the data, how the graph is, okay, whether it is increased or it is decreased, okay. So that is analyzing the data. We use graphs. Next, the Gopi has good guessing. It is the process skill. What is that process skill? Guessing. About process skills, tomorrow's class in detail we are going to discuss. So guessing, what is the synonym of guessing? Simply, okay, here infer, predict, record, observe. What is the right answer? Yes, your prediction is correct. Prediction, predict. Guessing is predicting. Ramu proved that it is wrong. Okay, he has the process skill. Okay, if you are proving means what? You should possess a complete knowledge. Ramu proved that it is wrong. So which is that process skill? He has the process skill of infer, use model, predict, observe. So it is nothing but a conclusion. So what is the answer? Yes, infer. Answer is A. Next question. Rani exhibits volcano in science exhibition. She has which skill? Predict, use a model, infer. So children, you know very well, the out of 600 to 1000 children in the school, only hundreds of children will participate in the science exhibition or any edu fair. Why? Because that scientific temper, it is present in only few people. So that attitude from childhood onwards you have to develop. Okay. So what is that? Here Rani exhibit volcano in science exhibition. She has which skill? So nowadays the skills are very, very important in every field. So what is that skill here? Predict, use model, infer, records. So volcano model she used. So the answer is B. Okay, most of you are correct. You have answered correctly. Good. Use a model. So your teacher also, to explain about the digestive system, some model to demonstrate the digestive system, your teacher used in the class. Okay? Using a model is a skill. Next, today's last question. There are certain discoveries made by chance. What they are called? Chance discovery, authenticated discovery, serendipity, useless discovery. So many scientists accidentally discover some new things. So such kind of discoveries are called, yes, C, serendipity. Serendipity means the discovery is made by chance, not a clear idea, but by chance the discovery took place. Such discoveries are called the serendipity. Okay, children, you listen carefully, and if textbooks are available, you please go through the textbooks and utilize the live chat to rectify or clarify your doubts. Okay, without any hesitation. Only subject related doubts please share with us. Okay, don't unnecessarily chat. Your personal chats are not encouraged. Thank you for watching our video. Please subscribe our channel to get live updates.